All right, I believe we are live now. How are you doing, Sakshi?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good, good. So we try to do these live chats at least every other week. So, and of course, this will be recorded. And we're supposed to have another guest who hopefully will be joining us in a while. So when he joins, then we'll continue and speak with him about this idea of how life is better with smooth speech. So, from your perspective, why do you believe life in general is better with smooth speech? Another way to ask that is, how is life without smooth speech?
Mm, I think life without smooth speech is more restrictive. You feel that you cannot be yourself, you cannot say what you want when you want to say it, and it feels very frustrating to be in that situation. And yeah, it's very oppressive. But when you are able to transform your speech and you are able to speak smoothly, you feel more free and you're able to express yourself more openly and convey what you actually want to convey when the right moment comes. And yeah, you just feel more confident about yourself.
Exactly, exactly. So, for those of you who are joining us, we're talking about how and why life is better with smooth speech. And to contrast that, we're actually looking at, well, how is life without smooth speech? And Sakshi's just shared, as many of you may know, that life is more restrictive. You're not able to speak up and speak out when you want. I've also found from my own personal experience and talking with people and hearing from people that when you don't have smooth speech, meaning you're not able to say what you want to say, when you want to say it, the way you want to say it, you also, and you mentioned this in terms of feeling limited, but you limit your dreams, right? So the things, I've even had people say they stopped dreaming. They stopped dreaming about the things that they want to do in their life. I had a guy from Turkey a couple of years ago, and his story was that he was working and he had a kind of a severe stutter, and he literally quit his job. It got so bad, the pressure was so bad that he quit his job. He moved into an apartment. He searched online to find an apartment that was near a grocery store that he could order online so he wouldn't have to go in, or so he wouldn't have to call. He would have his mom and his girlfriend make phone calls for him if any business needed to be taken care of. So he had secluded his life because of his speech. And he reached out to me and we started working together. And not many months later, he applied for a job. He got a job. He did so well in this job that they called him to be a representative at the United Nations. I'm not exaggerating. And I do have a video of him someplace. But so he went from stuttering, controlling his life, to a year later speaking at the United Nations. Um, so that's a pretty fantastic story, but it just goes to show that life is better, right, with smoother speech because you don't have to do away with or restrict or stop dreaming. What do you think about that, Sakshi?
Yeah, I think what you shared is amazing. How this person, it's like a complete 180-degree transformation. And I feel that that has happened with me too. And I feel that all of us who struggle with our speech have a gift within us to offer to the world. And what is stopping us is actually our hesitation to try out what we know works, and to really believe that yes, we can transform our speech, and yes, we can speak smoothly, even though we have experienced throughout our lives that we get stuck, we stutter, we stammer. But believing that we can transform this, and then taking the right steps to do it, and seeing it for ourselves that yes, I mean, I have a treasure hidden within me, and by being able to speak smoothly, I can offer that to the world and grow. So I think, yeah, smooth speech definitely changes a lot of things. It isn't just changing things for us, it is changing things for the people in our lives as well. I think because we offer so much when we start speaking,
Yes,
so it's
exactly.
helping other people.
I want to comment on that. That was one of the reasons that I guess, really got motivated to transform my speech. Uh, my story is back in, well, I grew up with stuttering. From the time I was in first or second grade, I can remember being called on and not really being able to read. Thankfully, they figured out, okay, he's smart. He just has a speech issue. So I got put in the smart class, and I just had to work around. I had to go to speech therapy, which didn't work for me. Speech therapy does work, but it didn't work for me. And so I just had to grow up and just work around it and work through it, hide it, and so forth. And it really impacted my self-esteem and confidence. I compensated by doing martial arts and things like that to build my confidence back up. And then fast forward many years later, uh, when I was going to college and so forth, I would say, well, I don't want to do that because that's going to require me to be in school longer and speak more. So maybe I'll change my major to this over here. So I started designing my life around stuttering to a degree, not totally. But the thing that really motivated me was there was a point back in my 20s where I knew that what I was doing wasn't fulfilling. It wasn't what I was called to do. And so something, I believe that it was God, but something spoke to me and said, hey, if you really want to be fulfilled, you've got to work on your speech. You got to fix your speech. So I was like, well, why can't you just remove it? Prayed, why can't you just remove it? So didn't get an answer. So it was just like, you've got to work on your speech. You've got to change your speech. If you ever want to be fulfilled and be of the highest level of service to others. So it really was my desire to be of a higher level of service to others. Like I really wanted to teach, I really wanted to help people achieve their goals and so forth, and live a more productive life. And I knew speech would be a big part of that. So that is what drove me to work on my speech for years. So I believe that when someone has that kind of a desire that they feel called to do something, and if you feel called to serve others, I think that kind of a drive is more powerful than I just want to fix my speech because it's inconvenient or it's a pain or it's frustrating. Now that certainly can do it too, right? I have seen that. But when you also, of course, it's frustrating and it's inconvenient for all of us. But also when you have this desire to serve others, I think that's the kind of drive that really you won't quit no matter what. And if you don't quit, you're going to achieve that goal. You're going to achieve smooth speech. Like Pooja says here, she says many, I don't know the number, but we're sure that there are some, if not many people who have committed suicide because of this, because you feel like a prisoner and you might even feel alone, right? Because you might not know that there's other people out there, or you might not know who they are. You might feel like you've tried things and it hasn't worked. So then you feel like you're stuck. So what do you think about this idea of trying things? Because there are people who watch videos and they try stuff, but it doesn't seem to work for them. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I would just say like one should stick with it, in the sense that if you have found something that you have seen works with people, And I think you should just stick with it. You should take it up and stick with it till the time it works for you. And uh, because it has worked for thousands of other people, I'm sure it's going to work with you as well. So I feel that one should stick with it and not give up.
Exactly. So this is just like anything else. If your goal, if you have a higher goal and your goal is to live the best life that you can, to be the most productive that you can, to really tap into and unleash your true potential. And if speech is the main thing that's standing in your way, then you want to look for something that's going to help you remove that obstacle. But also, when we're talking about Pro90d, we're talking about transforming that obstacle into a stepping stone. In fact, I like to describe it as a gift that is like a big box that you've been, or crate that you've been dragging around your whole life, right? And it's all crated up, but it's slowing you down because you're dragging it. So what Pro90d does is it helps you to stop, turn around, unpack the gift, take it out of the crate, and then unwrap it so that now you have this gift that's now an asset for you and no longer a liability. The liability is when you're dragging it around. Now you've stopped, you've unpacked it, you've opened it, you've unwrapped it, and now it's a gift that's going to help you go faster and better. That's what Pro90d does. So if you look at stuttering, stammering, speaking too fast, fear, if you look at it like that and you use the strategies that we provide, then it will become an asset. So the question is, and it goes back to what you said, when people are trying stuff and it seemingly doesn't work, why doesn't it work? Like, why do you think when people try stuff, and I know you may have kind of answered this, but let's talk about some specific reasons why even for some people, the videos they watch on YouTube or whatever doesn't work for them.
I think there are a few things to it. First is maybe somewhere, so for, let's say the person has taken up the program and all the skills and everything, and still things are not changing, maybe because somewhere we ourselves don't believe that this is going to work. So that is one level in which this plays, I think, the way we think about something. And secondly, it could be that we haven't even tried. We get frustrated or we get impatient. We feel that, okay, we've done enough just by watching videos, we're done. No, so this requires practice. We know that it's like a daily practice and immersion that we have to go through to be able to see the changes. And this has happened with me personally. When I started, I was like, why aren't things changing? What's happening? What's going wrong? This program doesn't work. It sucks. Like, I had those thoughts. But then when I spoke to Michael, I realized that, oh, these are the things that I need to do in order to see changes. So I need to do it first to be able to evaluate. I can't evaluate without even trying.
Exactly. So you mentioned an important word, and again, the whole topic of this, and we're going to have some subtopics that we talk about. Life is better with smooth speech. So now we're talking about, well, how do you get the smooth speech? You find a systematic process that's going to basically systematically transform your speech. One thing that we know is that speaking is it's a behavior, it's an action, it's something that we do when we speak. Thinking, the same thing, it's a behavior, right? And when we stutter or stammer, it's a disfluent way of speaking. There's a story that Brian Tracy told me many, many years ago that inspired me. A lady, actually in Florida, was in an accident. Prior to the accident, she had a stutter, kind of low self-esteem and so forth. In the accident, she got amnesia. And as she started to recover, she essentially forgot that she stuttered, and she built a whole new personality, one that was more confident, one where she didn't stutter. So I was like, man, I don't want to get amnesia in order to get rid of this thing. But apparently, this isn't something that you're stuck with, because if she was stuck with it, even after the accident, she still would have stuttered, right? If it was neurologically and permanently wired in, as some people say, then we're stuck with it if it's genetic. Now, that's not to say that it's not genetic, and it absolutely is neurological, because everything that we do and think and say emanates from our brain, right? It starts there, so it is neurological. However, it doesn't have to be permanent, and it doesn't have to be controlling your life in the same way that it does now. I still have disfluencies. I'm sure you do. Everyone else does. But the fact of the matter is that by looking at this lady and understanding that this was something that was subconscious, something that was going on in an unconscious way, and something that due to an accident she was able to change, it's also something that I figured out that I could change too, because I could change my subconscious, I could change my beliefs, I could change what I thought. I also stumbled upon modeling by modeling Brian Tracy, so I could change the way that I speak. So my point is, speaking is a behavior, it's a way of speaking. Stuttering is a disfluent way. We can change our ways. Behaviors can be changed or replaced. The way that we think can be changed and replaced. So if anyone's watching this, you have to know that this is a fact. And even people who have strokes are able to recover through speech therapy. They're able to rewire their brains so that other parts can be reconstituted, that is, to come in and take over the damaged part so that they could speak more smoothly. So you have to know as a fact that with consistent repetition of the right actions over time, you can go from severe stuttering, mild stuttering, stuttering where barely people can see it, up to excellent speech, because it's a matter of habit and skill. That should give everyone a lot of hope that you can do this, but you have to need to do it, and you have to really, really want to do it. Because I know that if you really, really want to do something, you're going to do it. Yeah. So does anyone have any questions out there for us? We're here to answer some of your questions as we talk about why life is better. So Sakshi, while people may be thinking of some questions, give us a couple of specific examples for you over just the last couple of years. Why is life better for you now? What are some specific things that have happened to you, and or specific things that you feel more confident in doing now?
So why has life been better over the last 2 years or more is I don't turn down chances to speak in public. Earlier, I used to consciously avoid going to social situations or taking up positions that will require me to speak in public. I clearly remember I was in college, second year, and I was a part of the Indian Music Society, and I was really active, and like everyone was really telling me to take up the vice president position. And because I had worked really hard towards the fest and I had created posters and done so much, and so everyone was really cheering for me. They were like, "You should become a vice president. You should do it." And I clearly remember turning it down, because when you become the vice president, you're supposed to go on stage and take a pledge.
Oh.
And I turned that down because I didn't want to go on stage and take the pledge.
Wow.
So yeah, but now I actively take on responsibilities, even though they require speaking. I take it on, and I don't feel constricted. I don't feel restricted anymore. So that's a major difference.
Yeah. So look at that. Like, you had an opportunity to do something, and this happens to people all the time, and you didn't turn it down because you didn't want to go on stage and perhaps not be able to take that pledge. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I've done that before too. But it's good that that's not the case now. So now you actually get out there and you look for opportunities and or create them.
Definitely, I have started online counseling sessions. I'm starting online consulting for people. So it's a different personality altogether. No one could have imagined that I would do something like this.
Exactly. And you just recently graduated from Harvard University here in the US, and you're now going to be working with me pretty much full time, let's just say, as a speech coach. So let's get to some of these questions and comments from Zakir. So he has probably one of our smaller programs, because he said, I've been doing your self-study 4 steps course. I'm not sure which one that is, but it's probably one of our smaller ones. And he's meeting with people. Let's just put this up here. Sometimes you get stuck a little scared. So you're thinking about joining the main course soon. Okay. But you have a little doubt of joining the main course and taking coaching because there might not be improvement in your speech. So here's the thing. This is very, very common. I would say almost anyone who's considering investing money in either the self-study or in the coaching, they're just not sure if this is going to work. So the way that I would explain it is, if you've already tasted the course, tasted some of the smaller stuff, right? You've tried it and you've gotten some results. You've seen some improvement. Imagine what you could do with the whole thing and or with coaching. All you have to do is go out and search the internet, because as I always say, I don't control the internet. So you're going to find whatever you find. If somebody says Michael Williams stuff sucks, Pro90d sucks, it just doesn't work, you may find some of that out there, because that's just the way that life is going to go. That's the way that business is. I would be surprised if you didn't. Some people have said they couldn't find anything bad, but I would be surprised if you didn't find someone that says that this doesn't work, right? Because that's just going to happen. However, the overwhelming majority of people who've actually gotten in and stuck with this and immersed themselves have seen dramatic and tremendous improvements. Even people who've immersed themselves in the self-study, right? And I know of some people right now. You got to look at this like learning a new language, learning any complex skill. Don't think of this as overcoming stuttering. Think of this as learning a new language. The more you immerse yourself, I think our guest is not going to be able to make it, because I think he said his family members got hit with the coronavirus. So yeah, so he's not going to be able to make it. So let me jump back to this. If you immerse yourself in this, just like you immerse yourself in learning a new language, you study it, you listen to it, you watch it, you speak it, you think about it. It will take a period of time, but you will become fluent in that language. If you immerse yourself and you put yourself into it, it's going to happen. Unless there's something wrong in an area of your brain that allows you to learn. And if you've learned anything up until now, then that's not the case. You can learn a new way of speaking. The problem is people are simply not consistent enough, and we're not accountable, so we get distracted. Sometimes even coaching clients do that, and it takes them longer than what they like, but they understand, hey, I wasn't consistent, right? The ones that are consistent and they're consistently repeat the same things over time, they get amazing results, right? So of course you're going to have some doubt. That's normal, but really the ball is in your court. We've dialed this thing into a science. It just works. It works best if you immerse yourself for a period of time. If you don't immerse yourself, it can still work. It will just take longer. So I have a doctor, and we worked with him. In fact, you and I both worked with him, I think, a couple of years ago. And he's now in Australia. And he immersed himself at first, then he kind of slacked off a little bit, for a while. And so he's been kind of doing it slowly for a couple of years. But now, I just talked to him last night. Now, when he's doing things in the different rooms and speaking to people, he's a doctor, so he's got to do some high pressure stuff. He says now he's very happy with how he's speaking. So it's taken him longer, but he's there, right? And then I have somebody like Julius. 2 months, he jumped in and immersed himself. He's there. Now, of course, he still has to improve. Guy named Justice. I work with him. I've been working with him, won't be a year yet, but his speech dramatically improved in about 4 or 5 months. And now it's been several months after that. And I'm really amazed if you can see his before and after. So, long story short, doubting is normal. Like Abdullah says, you look at the proof, but you also look at yourself and just say, hey, if I can learn a new language, then I can learn how to speak smoothly, clearly, and confidently. What do you think, Sakshi?
Yeah, I think, like you said, having doubts is completely normal. At the same time, it's important to try till you actually see it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think trying is the way to go. Even if there's a doubt, like just take that leap of faith and just try it. And when you know that it works, it will definitely work for you. And you will start seeing results within a few weeks.
Exactly. So here's something from Chris. How do you overcome stuttering plosive sounds? Okay. So that's one of those, a technical question. And as we say, Pro90d is multi-dimensional, right? It's multi-dimensional. So when you're looking for some specific technique, right, or strategy to deal with specific sounds or words, while that's important, it's not the whole picture, it's not the whole story, it's not the whole solution. Why? Because stuttering for virtually everyone is, and if it's not initially, when you just start stuttering, it becomes psychological. Because if you find that you're stuttering, it starts getting ingrained into your personality and the way you see things, the way you think, you start anticipating. So it becomes psychological, even if it didn't start that way. So we're not saying it's psychological and that's it. For some people, it may be, but it's both physiological and psychological, right? Because if you think about stuttering, if you anticipate sometimes, it's psychological. If you see yourself as a person who stutters sometimes, it's psychological, right? It has something to do with your identity and your mindset. So to answer the question, there's not just one technique. There may be one that helps, but we also have to transform the mindset and the speaking identity so that your confidence rises, you feel more relaxed, you don't think about stuttering, you don't think about the words, you don't think about speaking. And believe it or not, when you're speaking, those sounds that you thought, or the sounds that you used to get stuck on, you actually stop getting stuck on that. So it's very funny how it works. Now, you do also learn a new style of speaking, and it'll still be you, it'll just be smoother. So we help you with proactive speaking skills that literally changes the rhythm in which you speak, changes the way you emphasize, the way you articulate words. So your brain sees, wow, he's saying this word differently than he usually says it. And then your brain then you start feeling more confident. And those plosive sounds that you used to get stuck on, you start getting stuck less and less until it kind of disappears. So it's a roundabout answer. It's not a direct answer, but it's the truth. So if I were to try to give you a technique, I would be doing you a disservice, because you're going to find that it might work sometimes and other times it's not going to work, because it's more than that. It's a whole process. And I watch as people come into the coaching program and they come because they get stuck on this or they get stuck on that. They have trouble with this. And they say, well, can you give me a technique? Can you give me a technique? I'm like, do the daily routine. Here's a strategy to help you in the short term, but just do the daily routine. And as they do it, all of a sudden, they stop getting stuck on those words and letters. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that or not, if If not, then we'll move on to the next one.
Yes, we can move on.
Okay. So here's another one. Hey, Michael and Sakshi, I just have a small question. What to do if you experience vocal block even when you speak slowly? Right. So for many people, well, let me throw this over to you, Sakshi. So speaking slowly can definitely help a lot of people. Speech therapists say it, and everyone says, okay, slow your speech down, slow your speech down. We say it, but that's not the only solution. So what would you say to this person? They say, even when I speak slowly, I get stuck.
This actually goes back to what you were sharing for the previous question, that it's not just about techniques, and it's like a multi-dimensional way of looking and practicing every day. And so I would go back to that, to really take the whole program and change the mindset and the habits. So we have to do everything together, and that's what will work. Even if we are trying to do a certain, like, speaking slowly is a technique, right? So just focusing on the technique will not help. And there's somewhere we need to change the way we're thinking while we're speaking. And that change is only going to happen when we practice every day.
Exactly. Yeah, there's some changes that you're not going to be able to even see right now, changes that are going to happen as a result of following this daily routine that you can't imagine. You can't see, well, how will doing this help me with this over here? But you have to trust the science. You have to trust all the thousands and thousands of people that have gone through the program. There's people out there who wrote to me, I know 5 years ago, and said, you've never probably heard of me, but I took one of your self-studies and it helped me graduate and get my PhD. This is someone I've never even heard of, but they took one of my courses. There's literally tens of thousands of people out there that have been helped. But you have to go through the whole program and not just go for the techniques that are temporary and will work sometimes and not others. So it's a great question. And the answer is, it's a process. It's a process. And it's a holistic process. So here's another funny question. Any chance you could invent a medication for stuttering? You know, there are people out there working on things. There is some medication out there that helps to change different neurotransmitters to help us become more relaxed. That can help our speech and so forth. So far, we haven't really seen a cure, and there could be something out there that I just don't know about. But the fact is, remember, Pro90d is not just about curing stuttering, stopping or overcoming stuttering, okay? It's really about taking your speech and your whole life to another level. There are many people who don't stutter, but they're not excellent speakers, right? I always use this example. Let's say you have a guy. Let's say you have two people, a guy and a girl, whatever, equally qualified, go into a job. Both used to stutter. One person took speech therapy and now they don't really stutter anymore. The next person took Pro90d and she's an excellent speaker, right? Equally qualified. They go into a job. Who do you think's probably going to get that job? Everything else being equal, who's going to get the job? The person who can present themselves the best, the person who can communicate the best. This person also has gained a degree of confidence. They're more persuasive. They're more influential. They have excellent communication skills. They went from even severe stuttering up to that point. This person now they don't stutter anymore, right? Two totally different kinds of outcomes. And it's true. Sakshi, you've seen it. In fact, you're a product of it. I've seen it. I'm a product of it. And I can go on, that this really isn't, I wouldn't want a medication now, because the kind of person that I am has been a result. It's like that gift that you unpack and you unwrap that whole process causes you to become a much stronger person, a deeper person, more confident. So there's benefits that you get from this process that you're simply not going to get from medication, right? So that's an interesting question. And I'm sure whoever invents this will become billionaires, because obviously people would rather take medication than go through all of this. But trust me, you're going to be so much better off going this route than just taking medication. I mean, it's inexplicable.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that you actually invented a research question for me to research on. One person who takes the normal speech therapy and one person who takes Pro90d. So you have designed the research for me. Thank you.
Very good. We'll be looking for that research to come out. Does insurance cover? So we don't accept insurance, but we have had people who've been able to get funds from their company, because this is considered, what's the word for it? Continuing education, right? We're not certified to be continuing education providers, but we are a legitimate company, and we do provide speech training and speech coaching. And so we have had major companies provide resources to their employees to go through this particular coaching. Whether or not insurance will do that, I don't know, but we don't accept insurance. So sorry about that. How do we handle a few bad experiences in a day which affect smooth speech? How do we return back to smooth speech? Yeah, Shivajit, I believe you were one of my coaching classes. I remember that name, and your face looks familiar. It's been a while. We're going to have bad speaking experiences. Sakshi, why don't you go ahead and speak to this? What happened to you when you had bad speaking experiences?
I just forget about them. That's what I do. Even now, like there are moments when I do get stuck. So I just tell myself that it's okay. I haven't committed a crime. It's fine. I don't have to punish myself. And I know that I can speak smoothly. So I am going to do that now. So all I do is I forget about the incident and I focus on the positives, and I look at, yes, I have spoken smoothly in the past, so that's what's going to happen in the future as well.
Exactly. Let me just quickly, Chris, I'm putting and I want to address that too. I'm putting a link in the chat, and you guys are going to want to grab this up for a couple of reasons. First of all, I need to go because I think it expired already. So let me go back. We're just doing this real time, so be patient with me. Yeah, let's just do this 11 p.m. this evening. Today is the 22nd. Is that correct?
Yes, it's 22nd today.
Okay, and let me just grab the link again to make sure it's the right one that's going in here. So someone asked, hey, Michael, do you have that 20% off link? I'm going to just pop that in there before. So we're not going to do this all the time, but we will do something like this occasionally. A couple of things. Number one, there's the link for 20% off the self-study. It's usually $199. That link's going to expire today. Shortly after we finish this, I'm going to expire that link again, because that promotion expired already. But I will do that for you guys now. So if you want to save, I don't know, it's almost $30, something like that. If you want to save that to get into the self-study now, do that. Also, we are about to launch. I just have a couple more videos to do. We're going to be launching the new self-study with additional benefits. We'll be doing orientations and lots of other things. And the self-study is going to go up by just about $50, right? And then it will go up again later, because we only want the very best people in there who are serious. But it's going to go up by $50. So if you get into the self-study now, you're going to be grandfathered in, and you're going to receive this new self-study as well. So if you're watching this before this link expires, get in because you're going to be saving 70 or 80 bucks. And
Go for it.
so you want to grab it now because it is going to expire today. All right. And then I probably won't do this again. Okay. So there you go, Chris. Now let's answer this question. Thank you for answering the question. Now I'm going to just say what I share with people. First of all, and this is for life in general, you don't see something that happens as a failure. You look at it as feedback, right? So whenever you fail, see it as feedback. What can I learn from it? And then you move on. You also look at it like a bump in the road. If you're driving down the street, let's say you're riding a bike or something, or you're driving your car, and you go over a pothole or you go into a pothole, you don't stop your car and back up into that pothole again and go, man, where did this pothole come from? Why did I go into this pothole? And then just keep going back and forth in the pothole. First of all, you would never get to your destination, right? Because you're sitting there thinking about, talking about, getting frustrated about this pothole. You keep going and you try to avoid the next one, right? So you think of when you don't have a good speaking experience, a good conversation, it's a bump in the road. Okay, what happened there? You look at it like feedback. Was I anxious? Was I nervous? Was I speaking too fast? Have I been practicing? Have I been consistent with my practice? You are 100% responsible for your speech. No one else is. We're going to be there to support you, but you're responsible for doing the work, right? And doing it consistently. So that's a good thing because that means you can actually change your speech. If you're responsible and you can transform your speech, then you have control as opposed to something being out of your control. So your speech is within your control. So when you have a bad day, quickly look at it. You say, was I speaking too fast? Was I rushing? Was I feeling anxious? Am I tired? Is something bothering me? Let me address that and let me move on and create another speaking experience. And am I doing the work that I need to do, or have I done the work to transform my speech? Or am I basically speaking the same way I usually speak and just trying to use techniques to manage it, right? So those are the questions that you want to ask. A big part of it comes back to really, just forgetting about it. Everyone has this fluencies. The difference is most people don't notice it. When they stumble over their speech, let's just say that someone's tired or they're anxious because they're giving a presentation and they don't see themselves as stutterers, like they don't stutter, essentially. But then they start stumbling and stuttering. But they don't begin to look at themselves as people who stutter. They just say, oh, I was anxious, I was nervous, or I was rushing. And then they don't think about it anymore. That's the place that you and I have to get to. We stumble. Okay, no problem. I was rushing. I was anxious. I was nervous. Let me just get back to this. But again, you have to either be or have gone through this transformation process. Okay. So great question. Let's get back up here. Does smoking have effects on speech? I'm not sure. I'll have to be honest. I really don't know. So I can't say anything about it. Stuttering is psychological, I believe. I don't stutter when I'm alone talking to myself. Many people, when they're by themselves, they don't stutter. Some people do, or there might be some small things that they still get stuck on. But many people don't, which goes to show you it has something to do with your speaking identity and your mindset, that when you switch and you're now in front of people, or you even know someone's listening to you, sometimes you don't have to see them. You just know someone's in the next room or they're next to you and they hear you. That consciousness causes you to begin stuttering. That's why it's so important to change the mindset, speaking identity, and the speech. Great point, Ibrahim. All right. Hey guys, I'm suffering from novel coronavirus for the last 4 days with little symptoms of my speech, but my speech gets worse now. I'm getting frequent block. What should I do? So, hey, if you're sick, a lot of times that can draw on your speech. And, so what happens is as you go through this process, if you immerse yourself, you're going to have to be conscious of how you're speaking for a period of time. Once it becomes automatic, then you don't have to be as conscious, okay, or conscious at all. If you're sick and you're still working on your speech, you just don't have the physical energy to be conscious of how you're speaking. And so there's not a whole lot you can do. It's just except to minimize how much you're speaking while you're sick and try to regain your energy, because the energy is just not there for your brain to use to think about how you're speaking, right? But remember, the goal is for you not to have to think about how you're speaking, that is using techniques for the rest of your life. The goal is for you to immerse yourself, make this thing automatic so that even if you drop down because you're sick, like if I get sick or I'm anxious or nervous, I may feel a pull on my speech, but it's not going to drop me all the way back down to stuttering, right? So you want to build those neural connections so strong that even when you're sick or upset or something, and you start coming down a little because you just don't have the energy, you still don't drop all the way back down. But if you're already down there and the neural connections are weak and your old speaking style is still strong, then it's easier for you to drop down, right? For you to revert back to your old style. Why? Because those are the neural connections that are strongest. That's your habit. You'll go back to habit because you don't have the energy to think about or develop the new habit. Okay. So my response is minimize your speaking as you're able, get your energy back, and then immerse yourself so that the next time you get sick, if you ever do, you won't drop down that far. Now, the final thing I'll say is you may have to speak more proactively. I know if I'm super, super tired, I just start stumbling. It's not even stuttering. I'm just tired, right? I have to speak more proactively. So that is emphasizing more, extending a bit more, inflecting more, using more body. Speak more proactively, and that can help get you through the dip. Saeed, thank you for transforming my life. Quick question. I sometimes feel nervous when I just have to say a single word like hello over the phone or when reading aloud. Your thoughts? Okay, Sakshi. Person has to say a single word like hello. Let's just take that. That's a great example. What would you recommend?
There are so many things one can do. One thing that I remember that Michael says is to smile. That really lifts up your mood and you can say what you want to say. That's something that I do when I feel like a bit nervous to even say hello. I usually smile, and that helps me go into the modeling zone
Okay.
and be able to model Michael.
So you use a smile to kind of change really your physical presence, what you're doing physically. It can also change your mood. And you use that also to trigger modeling that when you smile. Now, here's something else. Here's another, you can call this a technique if you want. And I've done this. I've taught, again, thousands of people to do it. And you hear other people doing it. You use an introductory word. Okay. You use an introductory word. And you blend or link that word with hello. I had this exact problem growing up. And I took a job working on the phone out of college. And I asked them when I was going through my training, I said, sometimes I get a little stuck and I may have a problem saying hello. Can I say, yes, hello? They said, sure, no problem. So I just added, yes, hello. Yes, hello. So in my mind, my brain was seeing that as a totally different word. It didn't see it as hello. It saw it as yes, hello. It's like, yeah, you can say yes, hello, but you can't say hello. So no problem. I said, yes, hello. Yes, hello. This is Michael Williams. Welcome to blah, blah, blah. Never had a problem with it again. And I hear people all the time saying, yes, hello, yes, hello, yes, hello. I don't know if they stutter or not, but they say it. So it's very common. It's okay to say, but you have to blend it. If you just say yes, pause, then you're right back to where you started. So this one little thing, saying yes, hello, literally can change that whole dynamic. If someone says, oh, well, I can't do that, there's hardly ever a time where you can't put a sound or word in front of a difficult word. If there's a difficult word, never say it by itself. Always add a word in front of it. And there's times where you can add a little like hello, hello. Now I wouldn't use hello. I would say yes, hello. But there's sometimes you could just use a little quiet, quick to get the word flowing. And that's perfectly okay. I wouldn't use but I might use a little But these are techniques. But remember, techniques alone are not enough. But they can help, right? So great question. Thank you for that. Let's see. How can we overcome with our psychology that we have been stuttering for a long time? In the future, we might stutter too while facing important situations where we expect to speak smoothly. Sakshi. So basically, I interpret the question as being, you've been stuck with this for a long time. You've got some stuff coming up. You've got meetings coming up, presentations, interviews, and it's in your mind. It's who you think you are. How do we change that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that's where the mindset comes in, and how Pro90d helps us change the way we look at ourselves and change our speaking identity. So once we change that, we're able to transform our speech. So even if we've gone through stuttering or stammering for our entire lives, I think Michael has worked with people who are like in their 50s and 60s who have been stuttering their whole life, and they're able to change their speaking, like the way they look at themselves, and they're able to transform their speech. So I think the key lies in the mindset and the way we look at ourselves.
Exactly. Exactly. So in the mindset, remember, Pro90d does three things. It helps you transform your mindset. That is how you think on a daily basis, what you think. What you think on a daily basis determines the quality of your life, period. What you think on a day-to-day basis, moment-to-moment basis determines the quality of your life. I've been watching a lot of news lately because of all the stuff that's been going on, but I've been decreasing the amount of news that I'm taking in because it's changing my mindset. I'm starting to get angrier, seeing all the stuff that's happening. You get worried, but there's a lot more to life than that. I mean, that's out there, that's happening. But the more I take that stuff in, the more it affects how I think, how I see myself, how I feel, my beliefs, how I perform, and it affects my outcome, right? It affects my outcomes. So I'm limiting that and making sure that I'm taking in stuff that's going to help me think, feel, and be the way I want. So helps you change your mindset, helps you change your speaking identity, who you believe yourself to be. If you believe I'm the kind of person who tends to stutter or block or whatever when I'm in these kinds of situations, that's your speaking identity. Sakshi can tell you, and other people here can tell you, if you immerse yourself in Pro90d, it will change that speaking identity where you'll start to say, I'm the kind of person who I can speak very well in high pressure speaking. In fact, I enjoy speaking. I love speaking. Yes, I may get stuck from time to time, but I just quickly recover and keep going. People don't even know I got stuck. You'll start saying, I'm the kind of person. Had a client who said that yesterday. He says, I barely have any fear now. I barely have any fear now. So his identity is transforming. Again, how do we do this? It's a process, right? It's a process. So look at that link. I'm going to put that link up here again. So guys, check the chat again for this discount link. Remember, shortly after this call is over, that link is going to expire. So you want to take advantage of this now because we're going to be changing things around. Great question. There's another question here. So do I have any special offers, people who've worked with me already and want my help again? That happens, right? Sakshi even worked with me in the past. She had huge life changes, moving from India, starting school over here. So you and I worked together again at a discounted price. And now you're on your way, and now you're going to be working with me. So occasionally we have people who come back, they need a refresher, and or they want to go to the next level. And yes, we do have severely discounted prices. Usually it's a fraction of what you paid before, or sometimes half. So go to the website, thesmoothspeechsystem.com. It's a little chat bubble, and make sure you leave your email, and let's get back in touch. Or if you're able to reach me on WhatsApp, I don't know if you're connected with us on WhatsApp, but use the chat bubble. We'll get back in touch and we'll set something up. Okay, so let's keep going here. We got a few more minutes. I'm just going down to see. Daily orders are really powerful, just need to be consistent. Ganraj, yes. Daily audio is really powerful, need to be consistent. It really is all about the consistency. Thanks, Michael. One more question for Sakshi. What's the price of your course in Indian rupees? Ooh, Sakshi, can you look up, it's like, so with the discount, it's 179, that's 20% off. What's 179 in rupees?
I just use Google to translate. How much?
Yes.
Sorry, how much dollars is it?
179. So that's
179 is 13,353.77.
okay.
So around 13,000 rupees.
And guys, when you're doing this, we have lots of Indian clients, students, and all kinds of people from India and all around the world who get the course. The course is not magic, although it does work some magic on you. It is kind of magical, but it's not magic. You have to do the work. This is an investment. If you see this as a cost, oh my God, I got to spend this much money, don't do it. You got to look at it like, I'm going to invest a certain amount of money and time and energy, and I'm going to get a return. And that return can be a better experience in college. It will be a better job, right? And it will be more money because you'll be able to communicate better. So you have to see that there's a emotional, psychological, spiritual, and financial return on what you invest. I've invested probably hundreds of thousands of dollars now, but I know a good $50,000 to $60,000 just over the last 4 years in coaching and in programs. So invest in yourself and you'll get a return. So Chris asked, hey, do we get WhatsApp access? Yes, we have 2 WhatsApp groups right now. One's just for coaching clients. The other one's for coaching and self-study. These guys are meeting just about every day, I think, right? Sakshi, Abdullah can let you know, but they meet just about every day. It's an amazing group. Abdullah is one of the leaders, and there's some other guys who are here who are also leading that group. And it's a great support group. You're going to see how people have transformed their speech. So yes, you do get access to that. All right. How long does the treatment last? Well, number one, it's not treatment. We're not therapists. This isn't therapy, but I know what you're asking. So Sakshi, why don't you answer, how long does this last? Because it's kind of a trick question.
Thank you.
I'm putting you on the spot. I'm putting Sakshi on the spot. But go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So I would say that it depends, and it is different from person to person. Some people take a few weeks and some people take a few months. If you're severely stammering, then it may take a bit longer. But usually we see results in 6 to 8 sessions, which is over 2 to 3 months. And yeah, that's what I would say. What would you say, Michael?
So it depends. It depends on the person. It depends on if you're doing a self-study or coaching. Coaching accelerates the process for a few reasons. Number one, you get greater accountability. So you actually stick And so this doesn't mean 100% you're going to stick to it just because you're doing coaching. But if you're paying for coaching, you're more likely to stick to the program. So then you're more likely to get the results, right? If you stick with the system. So coaching accelerates because you're more consistent. You're meeting with us either every week or every other week. You're getting expert feedback. You will become an expert in about 5 to 7 years of doing something because you learn patterns. You can look at something and say, aha, this is the way we do it. Your brain and your body gets used to doing certain things. In this case, it's coaching. So I've been doing this for 8 years straight, and I've been in this field for 11 years now. But I've been coaching full time, 8 years straight. That's all, no other jobs. I'm an expert at this now. I can look at people and go, boom, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do here, right? So you're going to get my expert feedback. Sakshi's been in this for a little while too, and she's also very good. She's taken people from stuttering to smooth speech by herself. So you get this expert feedback. You and I don't know what we don't know. So someone can tell us, hey, do this, don't do that, right? So it's going to save you time. Now, self-study can take longer because you don't have the accountability and you don't have the feedback. But can it work? Well, yes, there's people in the group here who will tell you, yes, this really works. And it can take the same period of time, but it usually takes a bit longer. So if you are immersing yourself within a couple of months, I mean, usually within a few weeks, you start to see and feel some difference. But within a couple of months, your speech should be substantially different. You should be able to do things that you weren't able to do, that you struggled to do before, 2 to 3 months. Then 6 months, 9 months. So studies show habits, 18 days for small habits on average, 66 days on average for people, right? Average habits, about 2 months, right? 66 days. 254 days, I think, on the outer edge. So I've seen it take a good 8 or 9 months for somebody to make a really huge transformation. So we have that whole span from a few weeks to seeing some things happening to a couple of months to, wow, this is, man, my speech is really better. I feel a lot more confident now. 2, 6 to 8 months. Wow, this is automatic for me now. Okay. So the treatment, remember, this is not to get you up to normal. This is to help you become an excellent speaker. The work is the same. You have to do the same work. So why not go to the next level? That's what this is designed to do, not to get you back to normal. But great question. All right, let's see. Someone mentions, we'll just take a few minutes and then we'll go. Mention the validity of the course. Can you restate that question? Because I'm not sure what it actually means. Mention the validity of the course. We don't have data, if that's what you're looking for, how many people have done this. And I heard someone once say that data, if someone else gives you that data, it's not 100% accurate. And it doesn't give you all the information that you really need. So if someone says, we had 100 people go through the program, and after this amount of time, these people were at this percentage of fluency and they maintained this fluency. Well, that's great. But everyone's different. And fluency for one person is going to be different than fluency for another person. And people are fluent at different levels in different situations. So did they measure that person in every speaking situation? Did they measure every person in every speaking situation? Right? So it's really hard to get a handle on what this looks like for each person to give you numbers. Those numbers are basically to make the program look valid. What I'd like to do, and it's not that we won't have numbers for you, because Sakshi now is here to help us do that. But what we do is try it for yourself, and you'll see, okay, this does work. And so you won't need to have someone else give you numbers. You'll have your own numbers. And that's just being honest. I'd rather for you to try some parts of it for yourself and say, aha, I am making some progress. If I commit myself, then I'm going to make more progress. All right, let's see. Yeah, just got a couple more. Mike understands speaking smoother can help you cure stuttering. we don't like to use the word cure, but I understand, and help you become an excellent speaker. But every time a word comes up that my brain to does like or letter it blocks. So I think you're saying that whenever your brain anticipates certain words or letters, then you get stuck. Okay, so this is very, very common. Sakshi, I'm sure you struggle with this. What the program does is it helps you get to the place where you stop thinking about words. Like I'm speaking right now, she's speaking. We're not thinking about words. We're barely aware that we're speaking. We're just communicating our thoughts and ideas. So the program helps you develop a rhythm and a flow and a mindset that shifts from you and your speech and words to the message and the value and the impact and the clarity. We call that Vic and Rick. So you begin to shift away from, it's like walking. When you walk, you don't think about the mechanics of walking. You just get up and walk. That's how we make speech. I have an idea. I have something I want to say. I just open my mouth and I say it, right? So the program does that as long as you immerse yourself in it. It's like a new language. I'm still learning Spanish, so I know I have to translate. Think, okay, what do I want to say? But the more I speak it, the less I have to translate. I just open my mouth and I start speaking. Same thing. Same thing. So answer to your question is your brain will stop looking at words. It will stop anticipating words and it'll be thinking about the idea and the message that you want to communicate. And again, it's a process. All right. Sakshi, if you need to jump off, feel free. I'm just going to take a few more questions because that's the advantage of doing this YouTube is that we can answer people's questions. So if you need to jump out, just let me know. I'm going to stop in about 3 minutes or so.
I'll stay. I don't have anything lined up, so I'll stay.
Okay. So Chandresh. Sakshi, how do you say his name? Chandresh.
Chandresh.
Okay. So he's got a question in there. I'm going to probably stop at his question, but let me do these couple of questions right here. From all the tips, the airflow is the one that I found that works the most. Just feel like you need a daily routine. Yes. Maintaining airflow linking, blending, extending, and blending, all things to help you maintain airflow, free flow speaking exercise. All of those things I've found probably has helped people the most. Slowing down, extending and blending, airflow linking, that tends to help people the most, at least initially. So you're right. Did your self-study program, but not able to transition when I have to speak in front of others. Okay. So what do you have to do? Well, a couple things. One, modeling. Modeling is observational learning. You step outside yourself and you put yourself in increasingly higher and higher pressure speaking situations. And you continue to step outside yourself and take on the persona of someone that you're modeling. So you become someone different for that moment. That's where modeling comes in. Many, many, many famous people have done this. Actresses, athletes, musicians, right? They become someone else in a sense when they're on stage. So this is the power of model, because your brain says, oh, this is me, and I tend to get stuck when I'm in front of others. So you say, okay, I'm not going to be me, I'm going to be my model. And my model doesn't get stuck. And you'll find that you'll perform better, right, by modeling. And then eventually you don't have to model because now your brain has enough successful memories and experiences to say, aha, this is how I speak now in front of others. So modeling and putting yourself in increasingly higher and higher pressure speaking situations and working it out, figuring out how to apply what you, but also use your new style. This is a big one. You have to use your new speaking style all the time. No pressure, low pressure, and high. If you only try to use this stuff in high pressure, it's probably not going to work. So in one of those things that I said, or multiple things, you're going to find the solution. And it may be that you're only trying to use this new way of speaking in high pressure. It falls apart. You got to use it when there's no pressure, when there's low pressure, and then you'll be able to use it when it's high pressure. All right, last question. Sakshi told me about your course at discounted price in Indian rupees, so I want to know the validity of the course, which you mentioned just before, of 179.
Maybe he means when the discount is going to expire. Is that what you mean, Chandresh?
When it's the validity of the course that which you mentioned. Oh, so if he's asking when it's going to expire, it will expire. I have a meeting at 2 o'clock. So after that meeting, so this afternoon, in the next couple of hours, that is going to expire out. So if you want to get it, you need to get it now at that price. I mean, the regular price is $199. So it's like $20 more. Okay.
Yeah,
so hopefully that.
It'll be like midnight in India at that time. So maybe by midnight.
Okay. Very good, guys. Thank you all so much for joining us in this YouTube Live. We tried to answer as many questions as we could. Thank you, Abdullah, for being here and answering some questions. Okay. Asking right now at the discounted price, asking its validity. It is valid right now at discounted price. If you're having a problem with it, let me know. Let me just double check. I'm going to paste the link here myself. So it says 179. So it is valid right now. Okay. And it'll be valid for at least the next couple of hours.
2 hours. So at 12:30 in India, it will expire. So before 12:30, make sure that you register yourself.
Exactly. Sakshi, anything else? Any other?
No,
comments?
I think, yes, I'm happy to be here every Wednesday. Thank you so much, Michael. It's always fun joining these webinars, and so nice to. I can't see everyone, but it's so nice to have all of you here. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, guys. Remember, visit our website, the Smooth Speech System. And for those of you that want to accelerate your progress, or if you need a refresher, just visit the main website, the Smooth Speech System. And there's a little chat bubble. So if you have questions, either Sakshi or myself will answer those questions. If you are ready to take your speech to the next level, you're ready to invest financially and time, then you can work with us full time. So then you want to go to this link, but it's also on that page. So we'll see you guys next time.
Michael, I think
Yes.
Grace has messaged again. He says, how long will he have access to the course? I think that's what he's asking. So it will be 1 year, right?
What's that?
It will be 1 year, and then.
So for this current version of the course, it's lifetime access, right? For this current version. When we upgrade, you're still going to have access to certain materials, but there will be a $99 renewal fee, which many people do, and there's a reason. When people just get a course and they stay with it, and then they stay with it year after year, I find that they forget about it. So now I have 5,000 people on the lists in the software that we actually have to pay for every month. And we have people in there who are not accessing and not using it and haven't done it for years. So if you're paying for it, you're either going to use it and get the results or stop paying for it. Right? So we're adding that $99. But when we add it, you're also going to get benefits from that. So there'll be orientations. There's going to be upgrades, free webinars and stuff that you're only going to get. So you'll be getting value. It's just not a $99 fee. But you're going to be more likely to use it as well. And there will still be some resources that you can retain forever. Okay? All right. So for this current version, it's lifetime. For the new version, it's lifetime if you want to continue the $99, but you'll still have access to something. All right? All right. So we'll see you guys later. Right?
Bye. See you.
Thank you, Sakshi.
Thank you.